Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, who am I? In our modern world, this question has become a source of quiet desperation. We live in an era of limitless choices, yet we feel more lost than ever. We change our careers, our relationships, our styles, and our beliefs, searching for that elusive, perfect version of ourselves. We are told to find ourselves or to create our own destiny. But this endless search often leads to a profound identity crisis. If you don't know who you are, every external wind will shake you. A single critical comment on social media can ruin your day. A failure at work makes you feel worthless. The success of a peer fills you with envy and self-doubt. You become a leaf blown about by the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others. You try to wear different masks to fit in, but underneath, you feel empty, fragile, and disconnected. What if the modern advice of finding yourself is actually the root of the problem? What if the key to an unshakable identity is not about searching for something hidden inside you, but about embracing and fulfilling the roles you already hold in life? 2,000 years ago, an ancient philosopher who was born into slavery, crippled and exiled, faced the ultimate identity crisis. He didn't have the luxury of finding himself in a modern sense, yet he achieved a level of inner freedom and self-mastery that emperors envied. He left behind a simple, profound guide on how to build an unbreakable identity. It all comes down to one question. Are you playing your assigned role? The philosopher was Epictetus. Born a slave in Hierapolis in modern-day Turkey, he spent his youth in Rome as the property of Epictetus, a brutal administrative secretary to the Emperor Nero. Epictetus knew the raw reality of having no control over his external life. His body was not his own. His labor was not his own. Even his physical safety was at the mercy of others. Legend has it that his master once twisted his leg in a fit of rage. Epictetus calmly warned him, "You will break it." When the leg snapped, Epictetus merely remarked, "Did I not tell you that you would break it?" For the rest of his life, he walked with a severe limp. Yet, despite his physical bondage, Epictetus realized a truth that changed his life. While his body could be chained, his mind and his capacity for moral choice could never be enslaved. He studied under the great Stoic Musonius Rufus, and when he was finally freed, he began teaching philosophy. His lectures were not dry academic theories, they were urgent survival guides for the soul. He taught that our suffering does not come from our circumstances, but from our failure to understand who we are and what is truly within our power. In his discourses, recorded by his dedicated student Arion, Epictetus addresses the root of human anxiety. He argues that our identity crises stem from a fundamental confusion about what belongs to us and what does not. Modern society teaches us to define ourselves by our external attributes, our job titles, our bank accounts, our physical appearance, or our social status. But Epictetus calls these things externals, or things not up to us. If you define yourself as a wealthy businessman, what happens when the market crashes and you lose your money? You lose your identity. If you define yourself by your youth and beauty, what happens when you age? You become a stranger to yourself. Seneca and Epictetus both warn that relying on externals is like building your home on wet sand. Epictetus invites us to look inward and discover our true nature. He writes, "Consider who you are. To begin with, a man. That is, one who has no quality more sovereign than moral choice. that all else is subject to this. But moral choice itself is free from all bondage and subjection. According to Epictetus, your core identity is not your job, your wealth, or your reputation. It is your faculty of moral choice, your ability to choose how to respond to whatever happens to you. But how do we translate this abstract philosophical truth into daily life? This is where Epictetus introduces his powerful concept of playing your role. In Discourses, Book 1, Chapter 2, Epictetus discusses the difference between the rational and the irrational. He points out that what is unendurable to one person is perfectly endurable to another, depending on how they view their role and their nature. He writes, "To the rational being, only the irrational is unendurable, but the rational is endurable. Blows are not by nature unendurable." How so? See how the Lacedaemonians endure flogging after they have learned that it is rational. The Spartans, Lacedaemonians, could endure public floggings that would kill or break a lesser man. Why? Because they knew who they were. They were Spartans. Flogging was part of their training, part of their role. It made sense to them. The physical pain was real, but it did not crush their spirit because it aligned with their identity. Epictetus is showing us that when you have a clear, rational understanding of your role, you can endure almost anything. The pain of life only becomes unendurable when we lose sight of our purpose and view ourselves as passive victims of random events. Epictetus then challenges us to examine the price at which we sell ourselves. He writes, "For you are the one that knows yourself, how much you are worth in your own eyes and at what price you sell yourself." He tells the story of two Roman senators during the reign of Nero. Nero, who fancied himself an actor and musician, ordered the senators to perform in the public theater. This was considered deeply degrading for men of their rank. One senator, Florus, hesitated. He went to Helvidius Priscus, a famous Stoic senator, and asked, "Should I go to the theater and perform?" Helvidius replied, "You should go." Florus then asked, "Why are you not going?" Helvidius answered, "Because I do not even deliberate about the matter." Florus was willing to consider selling his dignity to save his life or his position. Helvidius, however, saw his integrity as priceless. He knew who he was, a Roman senator dedicated to justice and truth, and that role was not for sale. Epictetus asks us, what is your price? Do you sell your peace of mind for a promotion? Do you sell your honesty to avoid a difficult conversation? Do you sell your self-respect for social media likes? When you know your own worth, you stop negotiating with your principles. You understand that your character is your most valuable possession. But Epictetus does not expect us to be senators defying emperors every day. He shows us how to find our duties in the simple, everyday relationships that define our lives. In Discourses, Book 2, Chapter 10, Epictetus explains how we can discover our duties simply by looking at the designations or titles we hold. He writes, "How is it possible to discover a man's duties from the designations which he bears? Consider who you are." He starts with the most basic designation. You are a human being. As a human, you have the capacity to reason and to make moral choices. This means you must not behave like a wild beast, driven by raw anger or lust, nor like a senseless sheep, blindly following the crowd. Your primary duty is to act rationally and honorably, but you are not just an isolated human. You exist in relation to others. You are a son or a daughter. You are a brother or a sister. You are a citizen of your community. You are a friend. Each of these titles carries specific natural duties. Epictetus breaks down these relational roles with beautiful clarity. He writes, "Consider who you are as a son. The duty of a son is to treat everything that is his own as belonging to his father, to be obedient to him in all things, never to speak ill of him to anyone, and in all things to yield to him and give place to him, cooperating with him to the limit of his power." Now, what if the father is bad, abusive, or unreasonable? The modern mind immediately rebels. Why should I respect someone who doesn't respect me? But Epictetus responds with profound Stoic logic. He says, "Has nature then made you kin to a good father? No, but simply to a father. Your duty as a son is not dependent on his quality as a father. His behavior is his business. He will answer for it. Your behavior is your business. Your duty is to preserve your own character as a good son, regardless of how he plays his part. The same applies to being a brother. If your brother wrongs you," Epictetus says, "do not hold fast to this, that he did wrong, but rather to that you must maintain your own relation to him." This is a radical shift in perspective. Your duty is never about controlling the other person. It is about controlling yourself. It means your identity is entirely in your own hands. But how do we apply this to the chaotic stage of modern life, where we feel forced to play roles we never chose? Let us bring Epictetus' wisdom into the 21st century. The modern identity crisis often comes from the illusion of absolute freedom. We are told we can be anything, which often leaves us feeling like we are nothing. We constantly compare ourselves to idealized versions of people on our screen. We feel a chronic anxiety that we are missing out, that we are in the wrong job, the wrong city, or the wrong relationship. Epictetus offers a cure. Stop trying to find yourself in the abstract. Instead, look at the concrete roles you currently hold. Right now, in this moment, who are you? Are you a student, a parent, an employee, a friend, a citizen? Your job is not to complain about the roles you don't have or to play them half-heartedly. Your job is to fulfill the roles you do have with absolute excellence and dedication. If you are an employee, do your work with integrity and diligence. If you are a friend, be loyal and supportive. If you are a parent, be present and loving. If you are a citizen, contribute to the common good. By focusing on the quality of your actions within your current roles, you build a solid, authentic identity. Epictetus uses the metaphor of the theater to make this point unforgettable. In section 17 of his Enchiridion or manual, he writes, "Remember that you are an actor in a play, the character of which is decided by the playwright. If a short play, then of a short one. If a long one, then of a long one. If it be his pleasure that you should act a poor man, see that you act it fitly, or a cripple, or a ruler, or a private citizen. For this is your business to act well the given part, but to select it belongs to another. Think about this deeply. You did not choose the country of your birth, the time period you live in, the genetics of your body, or the family you were born into. These were selected by nature, or God, or fate. To waste your life wishing you were someone else, or lived in a different time, is to reject the play itself. It is a form of madness. True wisdom lies in accepting the role you have been assigned and playing it to the absolute best of your ability. A great actor can win an Oscar playing a beggar, while a poor actor can ruin the role of a king. The quality of the performance is what matters, not the size or status of the role. This Stoic approach is particularly vital in our digital age, where social media constantly pressures us to curate a false, idealized persona. We are tempted to play roles that are not ours. The perfect influencer, the flawless expert, the constantly happy traveler. We spend precious energy maintaining these digital facades, selling our authentic selves for the cheap currency of validation. Epictetus would warn us that we are selling ourselves cheap. He would ask, at what price are you selling your attention and your peace of mind? When we wear these fake masks, we inevitably experience an identity crisis because we feel the gap between our public image and our private reality. The Stoic solution is to return to simplicity. Strip away the need for external validation. Focus on being authentic in your offline, real-world roles. Be a real friend, a real partner, a real worker. Let your character speak through your actions, not your posts. To implement this in your daily life, start each morning with a simple mental rehearsal. Before you check your phone or dive into the day's tasks, take 5 minutes to sit in silence. List the major roles you will play today. Today, I am a professional at my job. I am a partner to my spouse. I am a parent to my child. I am a citizen driving on the highway. Then, set a clear intention for each role. As a professional, I will act with honesty and do my best work. As a partner, I will listen with patience and empathy. As a parent, I will be fully present. As a citizen, I will drive calmly and show respect to others on the road. By doing this, you prepare your mind for the specific duties of the day. You are no longer reacting blindly to whatever happens. You are stepping onto the stage of life with a clear script and a resolute heart. An identity crisis is not a sign that you need to go on a journey of self-discovery to some distant land. It is a sign that you have stopped paying attention to the roles right in front of you. You do not need to find yourself. You need to decide who you are going to be in the relationships and duties that already exist in your life. Epictetus, the crippled slave who became a beacon of freedom, showed us that true dignity and peace of mind do not come from the status of our role, but from the integrity with which we play it. Your life is a play. The stage is set. The other actors are waiting. What kind of performance will you give today? If you want to continue building an unbreakable mind and learning how ancient philosophy can solve modern problems, subscribe to the channel. We post deep dives into Stoicism every single week. Remember, the greatest victory is not over others, but over yourself. Stay stoic.